Hi everyone. So I'm Mrs. Waha and I do restorative practices at CHS and CMS. And one of the things we're going to do during this distance learning in restorative practices is we're really going to focus on our relationships with ourselves as we are having to practice social distancing and isolating ourselves at home. So, as many of you know, restorative practices are a way of thinking about our relationships with one another. We practice social and emotional learning, which really has us learning about ourselves and our feelings and our emotions, and really practicing being able to communicate with others in a really effective way. And so a lot of that might be happening at home. You may or may not have siblings. You're with your parents and guardians for an extended period of time. So it's really important that we learn how to take good care of ourselves during this time. And one of the things we can do that is really productive and fun is we can do some cooking and baking. So one of the things I'm going to be doing for our restorative practices sessions is I'm going to be teaching you how to bake some things. We're going to start today with banana bread, and I'm going to give you the recipe. So if you want to grab a writing utensil, I'll also post it on the site. So you're going to need a half cup of oil, and you can use butter or margarine. You can use canola oil. You can probably hear my cat meowing in the background. Turtle, what's the matter? Or you can use coconut oil. My favorite is butter. And what I've done here is I've softened a half cup of butter. That's one stick. And then I've put in 3/4 of a cup of sugar. And then you just make it, kind of looks like granulated sand when it's all soft. But you want to mix the butter and the sugar together really well. And you're probably going to have to stop this video while you do these things. Set your oven to 350 degrees. You want that to preheat while you're mixing up your ingredients. So I do my butter and sugar first. And then another thing I do ahead of time is I mash up 3 bananas so that they're nice and, nice and mashed together, no big chunks in it. Another thing I do is I take my bread pan and I put a little canola oil in it, and then I just kind of spread the oil out with a paper towel. If you don't have oil, you can use butter or margarine. Don't use olive oil. That's not a good taste for sweet breads or cookies. All right. So you've got your oven preheated, you've got your pan oiled, you have your bananas mashed, and now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 2 eggs to our butter and sugar. So just go ahead and crack those 2 eggs. Now if you have little brothers or sisters at home, you can definitely have them help you with this. One of the things that is really fun about baking is having people help. So I have my grandchildren help me all the time when they're around. And then the other thing you're going to add to the eggs and the butter and sugar is you're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. Now this is a unique recipe. Not all banana bread recipes call for buttermilk. So if you don't have a 1/3 cup of buttermilk, you can use a 1/3 cup of yogurt. And really, you could use any flavor that you have on hand. I happen to have some buttermilk, so I'm going to use a 1/3 cup of buttermilk. And I'm going to add that to my wet ingredients. And so pretty much this is how it's going to look. Just kind of a little bit chunky, not completely smooth. And then what you add next is 2 cups of flour. And in your 2 cups of flour, you're going to want to put a teaspoon of baking soda and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Mix that all in there really good. So then you put your flour, you add your bananas, and then one of the things it talks about is that you could add a 1/2 cup of nuts, but I use a 1/2 cup of mini chocolate chips because that's how I like my banana bread. And you could actually add some maraschino cherries. You could add some butterscotch chips. So there's a lot of different things you could add. And then just go ahead and mix that together. I don't really mix it too well. I just kind of mix it enough so that it all sticks together. And then I add that to my bread pan. And then I bake it in my 350-degree oven for approximately 1 hour and 10 minutes. So I hope your banana bread turns out really great. Something fun to share with your family. Something to keep you busy, give you something to do especially if you're not into baking or cooking. It's a really fun thing to start learning how to do. And this is a great opportunity for us, even though I know it's hard and I know we really miss you guys. But it's a way for us to stay connected and to be together on some level. The last thing I want to say before I throw my banana bread in the oven is if any of you are in need for a restorative chat, if any of you are experiencing relationship issues and you want to talk about those, feel free to call me. I will be available Monday through Friday from 8 o'clock until 3:30. And I'll be checking my messages and my email regularly. So feel free to give me a call and I'd be happy to walk you through some restorative steps so that you can continue to work on those relationships that are near and dear to you. So until next time, post a picture of your banana bread if you'd like. I'd love to see how many of you try this recipe and how it turns out. I'll be thinking good thoughts about everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.